Hello everyone, and welcome to my den. I'm the Dapper Bard, here to talk to you about something I haven't talked about in quite some time on this channel. Tabletop! Yes, I'm back with tabletop videos. So hype. Last year, as some of you may know, the playtest materials for the next edition of Dungeons & Dragons, called 1D&D, because we can't count past 5, came out. After this announcement, a lot of the third-party publishers were wondering what was going to happen to the Open Gaming License, or OGL for short. This was a system that let third-party people produce Dungeons & Dragons content. We started getting information and leaks about the new version of the OGL, the 1.1. January has been a glut of new information. However, the one thing I have noticed is a lot of people wondering what the OGL is. This is both people in my life and people I've seen online. So I wanted to take the time to try to clear up the confusion as to what the OGL actually is. So join me as I explain to you what the OGL is and why you should care. Before I get into the importance of the Open Gaming License, let me first begin with a little history. TSR Inc. was the original publisher of Dungeons & Dragons. They started to go bankrupt in the late 90s and were bought out by Wizards of the Coast, who in turn were bought out by Hasbro in 1999. That's where this whole thing begins. Started by Wizards of the Coast in 2000 alongside 3rd edition, the Open Gaming License was a concept developed based on the idea of open source computing and spearheaded by Ryan Dancey. By 2004, Wizards of the Coast admitted that developers could stay with the original OGL contract if changes were made, and the producers did not want to use the new contract. In June 2008, Wizards moved to a more restrictive license called the Gaming System License, which was designed for 4th edition. By this point, the original creator of the OGL, Ryan Dancey, and many of the staff that gave you 3rd edition had already left the company. It should be noted that the original OGL was not compatible with 4th edition, but was still available for 3rd and 3.5 editions. The GSL was more restrictive as a means to help differentiate between Dungeons & Dragons products and other non-D&D products. The writing of the GSL was complicated, and most third-party companies opted for the OGL due to the simplicity of the contract. However, the biggest issue with the Open Gaming License was that if you worked under the GSL, you could no longer work under the OGL, causing a divide in third-party developers. In January 2016, Wizards brought back the OGL as the primary license system for 5e. This opened things up again, and the Dungeon Masters Guild storefront expanded third-party groups to nearly anyone who could make a module. This contract also allowed creators to make products for any of the worlds owned by Wizards of the Coast. In November 2022, it was suspected that the OGL would change for 1D&D. Wizards responded to rumors by saying the OGL would still be used, but might have some changes. By December 2022, Wizards cleared things up a bit by saying that the OGL will apply to printed works and digital works only. It would not apply to video games or virtual tabletops. This is kind of a lie, based on what we know now. However, it does require reports on profits if more than $50,000 is made, and pay royalties if more than $750,000 is made. In January 2023, it was reported that the new OGL 1.1 will replace the old one, and to maintain compliance to the OGL, developers would have to use this new license. It has been inferred by Wizards that the new license was to hinder competition but allow for more D&D content. However, this contract allows Wizards to claim any original created ideas as their own. The story continues to develop almost daily, but for now, this is all you need to know about the current state of the OGL. So now that you know the history, let's explore exactly what the Open Gaming License actually does. It allows third-party developers to make compatible material for Dungeons & Dragons without getting special permission to do so from Hasbro or Wizards of the Coast. This also gives Wizards more control over the content that is being produced because third-party developers need to disclose what open content they are using for the publication. This also has the side effect of turning competition into secondary producers who make products that promote the main franchise. This would make D20 systems more recognizable so that everyone gains from the exposure. More than that, it allowed for worldwide publication and multiple language releases as well. The OGL led to the development of the highly popular Pathfinder franchise, which began with a modified 3.5 system. The OGL led to far more D20 themed products than had ever been made before, and allowed for the growth of e-publishing in order to expand the market even further. One of the reasons why there are so many games and modules made is because it was a worldwide, royalty-free, and non-exclusive license. The OGL was one of the most important moments in tabletop gaming history. And this brings us to one of the key questions. Why should you care? Well, several worlds outside of the main D&D universe exist as tabletop games because of the Open Gaming license. This includes Adventures in Middle-earth, Babylon 5 D20, Conan D20, Judge Dredd, Mutant Chronicles 3rd Edition, Star Trek Adventures, Star Wars D20, WWE Know Your Role, and many others. Then there were plenty of D&D-like games that also developed because of this license, including the aforementioned Pathfinder. With the changing rules of the OGL, it is hard to say how many third-party products will exist in both the original IP and franchise IP worlds of gaming. If you're a fan of any other D20 games, then the changes to the OGL will impact you. It won't remove the physical books you own, but it is hard to say what will happen to older books and new editions of out-of-date games. It is possible that those older books will be discontinued or possibly even removed from shelves, meaning before this license goes into effect, it is highly recommended you go out and grab the books you want, or hope you get lucky finding them on the secondary market. But again, this is speculation because we don't know what's actually going to happen to older products until the final version of the OGL is instated. What we do know is this is a complicated time to be a tabletop fan, and that you should really care about what happens, because this could have some unforeseen consequences that could change tabletop for a very long time. I hope my discussion about the Open Gaming license has cleared things up. As the 1.2 version has been posted online for discussion and for feedback, I will be covering that in a separate video. All I want to say right now is thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. And if you want more tabletop videos, let me know in the comments below, because this is my passion. It's what I started the channel for originally, and I'd really love to do more tabletop discussions, theories, reviews, etc. Until then, thank you for watching, and I'll see you at the tavern.